Wang Yaqin and Sam Chen are packing up belongings to be shipped out of Hong Kong, but they are not the ones leaving. China's increasing repression of civil liberties here has sparked a huge exodus.
少咗好多朋友離開晒香港，喺出邊呢個社會氛圍咧，我哋好難見到好啦。有一份人哋難以明白嘅哀傷，或者有一份人哋難以明白嘅，都會有呢份孤獨咯。
It's not the kind of work they or their peers would usually do, but most other firms are not willing to hire them. This moving company gives work to young people prosecuted for protest-related or political offences. Wang got fired on the second day of his last job, which his boss blamed on pressure from higher up. He also says his bank accounts have been suspended, and from time to time he's followed and surveilled.
好直接嘅呢啲係好正常。呢個時代，政治犯會面對一啲處境。我係努力咁樣活得像一個正常人，呢個已經係一個好大嘅挑戰。我嘅未來性會變成點樣咯？我都唔敢去想像。
Wang and Sam were part of the huge pro-democracy protest movement that made global headlines in 2019. Beijing responded by imposing the National Security Law, which gave the government new powers to prosecute many kinds of dissent once lawful in Hong Kong. Since the protest, over 10,000 people have been arrested, and that number is still growing. Official figures say around 40% of those arrested were students, like Wang and Sam. They started a student activist group after the demonstrations to call for continued resistance, but ended up in jail for around 2 years for conspiracy to incite subversion. Since being released late last year, Wang, like many other opposition figures, usually keeps a low profile. Today is an exception. He's launching a new t-shirt brand at a pro-protest grocery store. Many of his customers are activists or other former prisoners.
先動啊，坐咗2個月咯。我點會諗到我走去法庭拍下手掌都會坐監咧？係咪啊？我自己今年都70歲啦。嚟呢啲地方買咧，我唔理佢咩價錢咯，做呢啲少少嘢咯，支持下啲放學嘅手足咯。
Wang's launch day is the same day as Hong Kong implements a second security law, limiting dissent even further. Despite the risk, Wang and Sam have spoken out about the alleged abuse of young prisoners. And for Wang, designing t-shirts is a subtle way to share his thoughts with the public. Some of them have the slogan, "Our Homeland."
對於我哋呢一代人嚟，可能要用成世，或者成世都唔會修補好一種創傷。我依然係喜歡多過憎恨咯，係好辛苦嘅一種愛咯。坐監教識我嘅，就算個客觀環境幾惡劣都好，我哋都有啲自己嘅選擇喺當中咯。更加多嘅意義係嚟自於你點樣創造嘅意義咯。有啲仍然受苦嘅人，我想陪伴佢哋繼續同行。
Wang and Sam plan to go back to university soon. They used to dream of becoming social workers, but their political convictions would rule that out. Despite the hurdles, they're choosing to stay and try to rebuild a life in what many call the new Hong Kong.
我呢個 model 好似好勁喎，我媽係影相係打我。